Hey, good morning. Let's talk about the state of Michigan and Jocelyn Benson, the soon-to-be former Secretary of the State, Secretary of State, a bug-eyed criminal, along with Gretchen Whitmer and Dana Nessel. And we know, Gretchen Whitmer, promised to fix the roads for the last 8 years, hasn't done anything. And Dana Nessel is a drunk lesbian. And, we've seen that several times reported on the news. She loves her alcohol. And I believe this woman was married at one point and then decided to divorce her husband and become a lesbian. That's the story I heard. I've never really done any research on that because it's just like she's a disgusting human being. So I'm not going to be digging too deep in her personal life, other than, it's her political life. Her professional life is what matters the most. Same thing with Jocelyn Benson and Gretchen Whitmer. It's just remember the devastation that Gretchen Whitmer caused, the state of Michigan, the thousands and thousands of small businesses that closed up, that have yet and probably will never reopen. And promise after promise, of fixing our roads, and she's done nothing. I mean, just band-aids here and there, and the vast majority of what we pay in taxes, to fund and support the state turns around and goes to Detroit, and then like Wayne County, and where a quarter of the population is on food stamps and Medicaid, Medicare, and so there's no real tax base. A lot of the folks that live in Detroit, greater Detroit, surrounding Detroit suburbs, depending on the county, they're living in Section 8 housing, and so they're not paying property tax. They really don't have a stake in the game because everything they get and receive is funded by taxpayers. So I've said this before. I think if your whole existence is dependent upon the goodwill of the rest of your state, rest of your community, then you shouldn't have the right to vote because you don't have a dog in the fight. And, and there's hundreds of thousands of people that don't pay into a system, but they suck out of it every day. And I've seen lately here tons of videos with minority folks loading up 2 and 3 grocery carts off their EBT card, eating lobster and all kinds of extravagant meals off the taxpayer dime, while they've got the latest and greatest cell phone, they're driving new cars, and they're living in Section 8 housing. And probably even, probably still have those Obama phones. I mean, who knows? But, we talk about illegal immigrants coming into this country, and then, then we're giving all these minorities all this free. It's not free, but giving them all these benefits, and we don't give a fraction of those benefits to our veterans. We don't give a fraction of those benefits, to the veterans that have lost a leg, both legs, all their limbs, who have been burned beyond recognition. In some cases, they're vegetables, and these guys and their families get nothing. But we give immigrants, like there was a sheriff. I had a video on there from Peter. Peter has a YouTube channel. I can't think of his last name. If I can think of it before I post the video, I'll put the link on there. But he's out with a sheriff and talking about it was like $500,000 a day for these tents to house these illegal immigrants. Then it was like another $100,000 a day in food and miscellaneous stuff. I mean, it just in that one little area, they had 4 or 5 of those tents or something like that. You'd have to watch the video, but I mean, it's a lot, and that was FEMA money that should have gone to the poor victims of Helena. I believe it's Helena out there in the Carolinas, and where you had that devastating flooding that went through those valleys there, just wiped out people, wiped out streets, and it's devastating. Just like what's happened in Texas. And so where did all that money go? So the liberals took all that money and gave it to these illegal immigrants. It's money that you and I pay for. I've been blessed to have the same job for almost 30 years. I've never been unemployed. Except for when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, I was like unemployed for like 2 weeks. But I was still living at home. Wasn't supporting myself. But I've always had a job. Thank God I've always had a job. And I've done some shitty jobs when I was a young man, because that's what you got to do. And you work your way up. Anyway, I could just go on and on and on. It's just like, it just drives me crazy. You got these liberals every day get on social media and talk about saving the Palestinians and doing this and doing that. And pardon my French, these bastards don't even have a job. The vast majority of them don't work. And if they do work, they're paid stooges. They're paid protesters. You have to keep in mind, these people aren't doing this shit for free. Who makes up all their fancy signs and their flags? Somebody's paying for that. And then when they riot, who's buying up all these bricks and blocks and sending them out, in the middle of a street in the back alley suburb someplace? I mean, the ignorance of so many people in America is just like, it's beyond me. You can't look at mainstream media and think that you're getting the truth, because you're not. You haven't gotten the truth from mainstream media in over 20 years. If you're not doing your own research and your own fact-finding, you're just as ignorant as the left. The information's out there. It's right there on my phone. These smartphones, they're not phones, they're computers first. They're phones second. So much I could do on this phone, it's unbelievable. I can reach out to anybody on the planet right now off this phone. So don't think for a minute that you don't have access to millions and millions and millions of information, bits of information. It's there. Just got to find it. Anyway, that's enough of that. 7 minutes. So I'm getting my coffee. That's important. So thanks for watching the video. Like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, please, and leave a comment. That'd be awesome. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you on the next video, probably right after this cup of coffee. See you on the next one.